Hi, this is Jim Harries with Esri, and I'm going to show you how I made this map in about 10 minutes time. North Dakota's presidential election results at the precinct level are shown right now. You can see there's a strong Republican base on the western side and southern part of the state, and a strong Democrat base on the eastern side of the state. You can confirm that by just kind of poking around the map to see how many people voted Republican in that election. In this case, there's more than a 2-to-1 ratio of Republican to Democrat votes. And on the eastern side of the state, the pattern is inverted. What I love about this map is it uses the color gradually to kind of show where clearly there are some strongholds, but there's a lot of variation going on within the state where it isn't quite a 2-to-1 ratio. In some areas it's closer to a 1-to-1 vote pattern. So how can we do this map in a few minutes time? Well, let me give you the overall process. It usually takes me longer to describe it than do it, but it is worth sharing. First, we're going to upload data. We're going to create a layer and a map from that data. We're going to configure the pop-ups so that when someone touches the map, they're rewarded with additional information, such as you just saw. And then finally, we'll share the map and a fully operational, fully functional application. We're going to do all that in less than 10 minutes, so let's get going. The source data for this is from the Harvard Election Data Archive. A few years ago I worked with Jonathan Rodden from Stanford University, who's part of this project, to build a nationwide version of a precinct map and for the 2008 election. And I was curious whether smart mapping from Esri, recently released in ArcGIS Online, would allow us to do anything new and interesting with that. So let's download the data for North Dakota. I downloaded the shapefile for it. And now I'm going to log into ArcGIS Online in order to make use of it. So I'll log in with my account into my organization. There we go. And I'll go to my content. I'll go to add item from my computer. Since I downloaded that shapefile, now I'll grab it and put it up into ArcGIS Online. So here it is. I'll give it a better name than the file name, North Dakota It's probably a good name, and we'll tag it up a little bit with a few tags just in case people start searching for data about Republican or Democrat or vote or election. That's probably good enough for now. What's happening now is it's uploading that zip file, which contains a shapefile. It's going to upload that to ArcGIS Online. And what ArcGIS Online it does at that point is unpacks that zip file, takes a look at the shapefile, and builds a service out of that. And then the service is hosted in the cloud, and I'm provided back a layer. It's just a layer I can work with in any of the ArcGIS client applications, such as ArcGIS Online, or maybe a 3D map, or maybe a custom application. So while it spins that up, we'll go back to take a look at this real quick. We are at this stage. We've uploaded the data, and ArcGIS Online is now handling the process of creating the layer I need in order to create the map. ArcGIS Online already has a bunch of base maps I can work with, and other functions we'll show you in a second. Okay, what we see now is it's created the service, created the feature layer, and now we can open that in a new map. So I'm working with this layer now. It's just a piece of information that this map understands. For all of North Dakota, here's all the precincts. Smart mapping grabs this data and says, hey, here's all the attributes that I found. So which one do you want to work with? Well, I looked at the metadata ahead of time. I want to work with this field. US, P is for presidential, R is for Republican, 08 is for the 2008 election. I want to work with that data. And I'd like to use the shading of the map. I want to use color to represent the count of Republican votes divided by the count of Democratic votes, USP D08. So this gives me a ratio, right? For every one Republican vote, how many Democrat votes are there? Now, what's interesting about this, smart mapping gives me a number of themes I can work with. Maybe I want to emphasize the above and below story, which is my case. I want to see where the Republican stronghold is versus the Democrat. I'll use kind of the familiar red state, blue state color pattern, but I'm doing that at the precinct level, and I'm doing it in a way that is very tunable. So the color and this histogram of the data, they're all working together here. Now right now I can see the average for the state of North Dakota. There's 1.5 Republican votes for every 1 Democratic vote. I guess it's a Republican state overall. But you can see within the state there's quite a bit of variation. It turns out the application of these colors relative to the data, it really matters. So I'm not going to accept what the software suggested. I'm actually going to put my knowledge into play here, if I can type it right. A 1-to-1 ratio would indicate a white color is applied right here in the middle of the legend. So all these districts that are kind of white in color, they must have a pretty close vote. Yeah, in this case there were 119 votes for Republicans versus, oh, that's the wrong vote, 145 for Republicans and 136 for Democrats. So that's pretty close. So that's not really a Republican stronghold, it's not really a Democrat stronghold, it's just kind of caught in the middle. So why shouldn't the color kind of represent it that way? If I put the upper slider at 2, and by the way you can grab this and slide it anywhere you like, or you can type in a value. If it's 2-to-1 ratio for Republicans, it gets a solid red color. If it's a 2-to-1 ratio for Democrats, or 0.5, then it gets a solid blue color. Now obviously I could kind of stretch that if I like, so that you got to work harder to get that stronghold tag. You got to have a, let's say, a 3-to-1 ratio, right? I could do that. I could just type in the number 3. You got to have a 3-to-1 ratio in order to get a Republican stronghold tag. Or maybe I'll drop it back down to 2 because that's what I want to do today. On the lower side, let's put that at 0.5 again. What I love about this is I've got that map, and I'm probably going to go with that, but while I'm here I might as well show you a couple other theme styles that you have available. Maybe I'm a campaign manager and I want to focus all my attention on the stuff in the middle, the stuff that's close. You know, that makes sense. I've got my base on one side or the other, but I need to spend my campaign dollars in those communities where the vote was very close. Well, how close? Again, let's set the ratio around 1, and let's set our same thresholds at 2 and 1.5. So this is a map showing these are all the areas I probably want to focus my attention on at the next campaign because they were close. How close? Well, it's kind of up to you to determine how close of a race are you talking about. So I'm going to cancel out of that just to show you that's an option. And next, what I need is some good pop-ups. Pop-ups are our way of saying what happens when someone clicks on the map. Do we reward them with additional information? So I'm going to type in Republican, and we'll put the count there, and Democrat, and we'll put the count there. And what else do we need? Turnout. Okay, let's grab the fields, and we want USP. And I don't want it there. I'd like it there. And I like the Democrat. I happen to know that you just got to change the R to a D. And for turnout, let's see, if memory serves, that guy is right here. USP08 is the overall turnout. What I'd like is to put that in a nice bold red. And the Democratic count, we'll put it in a nice bold blue. And turnout, I think turnout is such a depressing topic. Personally, I'm going to put it in kind of a gray topic. Okay, so there we go. I think maybe I'll just check the fields I'm working with to see how many decimal places they have. Sometimes, yeah, we don't need 2 decimal places for a vote count. That's kind of not necessary. So we'll set those guys, and while I'm in here, I might as well change these aliases. Republican, and we'll call this Democrat, just in case we can use that later. Okay, we'll save the pop-up. At this point, I've got, hopefully is a good-looking pop-up. You know, it needs one more thing. Let's jump back in there, and let's add a column chart where we feature those 2 counts. So let's do the US, where did it go? Oh, there they are. I forgot, I aliased them. Republican and Democrat are the aliases now. We'll put those in as is, and now when I click on the map, or anyone clicks on the map, they're going to get the numbers, but they're also going to get a visual just to help people understand, okay, so this is a dark red precinct. Here's what the vote pattern looks like. It's at least 2 to 1. Here's more of a neutral precinct, and yeah, the vote count reflects that both visually in the chart and visually in terms of how the color is applied across the map. Lastly, might want to tweak this base map. Maybe I want to go with a train with labels map just to get rid of, if you notice, even this topographic map, it's got a lot of green parks. Sometimes that interferes with the color pattern, people's perception. I don't really need parks on this map. I just want people to get a sense of where the vote pattern varies. I like having Grand Forks labeled and Bismarck labeled, etc. So at this point, I'm going to save the layer. All right. So all these decisions I made about color and pop-ups, etc., they're now saved on that layer. And anyone who finds it and uses it, they get the benefit of that knowledge or those decisions. And I'm going to save the web map. I'm going to save this map as North Dakota election 2008, and we'll toss a few tags in there. Vote Republican, vote and Republican and Democrat. All right. And lastly, this map shows the 2008 presidential. You know, a lot of times your first draft, you just kind of get a sentence down there, so it's real basic and straightforward. But what I do enjoy about this is now this is immediately ready to share. My work, my thoughts on this map, I'm immediately available to share, including the layer are now shared publicly because I chose that. I can embed this in a website with a iframe, so it's good for, you know, a blog or an online newspaper. You can just inject that into your content management system. Or if you want to share a fully functional web application, there's several pages of templates available to use. Of all the story map journals, I think when I'm just kind of exploring data like this, I'd like to take this story map basic. While I can preview it in interest of time, I'm just going to hit publish. Notice how it inherits the title of the web map, it inherits the summary of the web map that I created, and it says, you want to share this the same way as your map? I do. And I'm going to hit save and publish. So now it's spinning up this application and storing it, sharing it publicly. And the last step, I can configure it. If there's any little tweaks I'd like to make, you know, I'm not really happy about this legend the way it looks, so I think we'll just not show the legend. I think this is one of those maps where it's somewhat self-explanatory what the colors are showing. And I'm leveraging that knowledge. People expect a red state, blue state map. This is a red precinct, blue precinct map. I hit done. And this thing is now ready to share with the world. So if I open it, this is like those cooking shows where you compare before with the after. Say, yeah, okay, this is basically what we were going for. So I hope you enjoyed taking a look at how to share this in just a few minutes time. I'm ready to tweet this out, and I'll probably go hit buffer and knock this thing out there. Thanks for attending. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. jharries@esri.com, jherries@esri.com. Thanks for your time.